Alright guys, what is up and welcome back to my NHL 14 Hockey Ultimate Team. This episode is going to be a little bit different. When I was recording the live commentary, I just kept getting phone calls and there was a bunch of stuff going on in the background, so it just ended up being garbage and unusable. And I wanted to try this out for a while, so I thought, because the live commentary didn't really work out, this would be the perfect opportunity for me to try this. And that's for me to just really talk about the NHL, just stuff that's going on, stuff that's happened so far. I know we're, I think, a quarter of the, no, I don't know how long we are into the season exactly, but we're into the season now, so I'm going to talk about some stuff that's probably a little bit older than some stuff that's happening in a minute. So I wanted to take this time to try and talk about the NHL and just other stuff, but small disclaimer here. I live in the UK, so I don't really get to see a lot of hockey games, really. I mean, for me to watch, I don't know if I mentioned this in any other video, but for me to watch a hockey game, Jesus, I need to stay up until pretty much 3 in the morning to finish the damn thing. So, if I have time to watch a hockey game, I normally watch, like, Tampa Bay, or, my girlfriend likes the Pittsburgh Penguins, so I normally watch Tampa or the Penguins if I can, and then if there's an early game, I'll try and switch it on if I'm not doing anything else. But other than that, I don't really get to see a whole lot of games, and I don't have Game Center as well, so I can't watch them, like, the next day or anything. So most of my stuff is really going to come off, what I've seen briefly, or anything I've seen on NHL.com, ESPN, or the Hockey Today podcast from ESPN as well, so if I mess something up or something, I'm going to apologize beforehand, because that's really all I can say about that, really. I'm not going to claim that, like, this is amazing or anything, but I'm just going to give you my take of how I think the NHL has been this season. So, with all that said, I'm going to talk about a team that a lot of people haven't really haven't really talked about, which is shocking considering how well they've played, and they're the team I support as well, and that's the Tampa Bay Lightning. I mean, I really don't see a lot of press about these guys. I mean, they're first in the Eastern Conference. They're undefeated against the West. And for whatever reason, I honestly haven't seen a lot of them compared to other teams. I mean, the most I've really seen about the Tampa Bay Lightning so far in the press is when Stamkos got injured. So, I mean, obviously that's a huge injury, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But, I mean, other than that, I really haven't seen much about him. But yeah, I mean, so far they're like 7-0 against the Western Conference. I think they've lost 4 games all season. They're top of the East, top of the Atlantic, and to be honest, I couldn't be more thrilled as a Tampa Bay fan with how they've been. I mean, Boston's had our number all year. I mean, obviously Stamkos got injured in that second game, so I kind of chalked that down as like I'm not really surprised we lost it, really. Not because Stamkos wasn't there, but, because he got injured halfway through the game, stuff happens like that, so I'm not really surprised about that. The first one, we obviously got our asses handed to us, so that's a completely different story. We lost against the New Jersey Devils as well. I didn't think Tampa Bay played particularly well in that game. That's probably one of the few games this season I really thought that Tampa really didn't seem like they were all there. So there was that, and then Pittsburgh, which we pretty much lost with, I don't even know how much, like 40 seconds left or something, but I felt like we should have had that game. To me, I don't know, I felt like we were robbed that game from officiating, just other standpoints, but that's for a different day. But other than that, I feel like Tampa have been played extremely well. I mean, we've lost 4 games. One of them was really disappointing out of all, well, 2 of them were really disappointing, I guess, Jersey and Pittsburgh, but I mean, other than that, I've been happy with how they've played. I mean, they've been playing great, and now, yeah, I mean, I can't be more thrilled about how they've been. I mean, I'm really happy and excited the fact they're doing so well. I mean, the past two seasons, ever since we made the Eastern Conference Finals, Game 7 of that, well, I mean, we seem to have like fallen off the face of the earth. I mean, just nothing seemed to be going our way after that. It's like, I don't know, we just kind of lost everything after that. And I'm pretty sure Guy Boucher kind of lost the team and then brought in John Cooper. And there was a little bit of improvement towards the end of last season, but, not much, really. But this year the team really seemed to have, like, taken to what John Cooper's got to say. And I've got to say, I've loved everything about it. They really seem to like what John Cooper's telling them, so it's really good considering, you know, obviously Guy Boucher got fired last year, but he seemed to have lost the team by the time he got fired. There was just nothing in them in the few games I saw last year. They just seemed deflated the entire year, and now they seem energized this year under John Cooper, which has been really fun to see. They seem disciplined and everything. It's been great. So there was that coaching change. I mean, a few off-season and even a last season change in here as well. I mean, we got the Le Cavalier for Filppula. Well, not Le Cavalier for Filppula, but you know, Filppula pretty much essentially replaced Le Cavalier, and you know, I was really annoyed at this at first. I mean, I love Le Cavalier. I mean, I really want the guy to do well. I loved him in Tampa. Obviously, he got drafted there. I loved watching him play, but obviously he got bought out, and it was sad to see him go. But you know, I guess that's just hockey. I mean, you can't really do much about it. And then we ended up bringing in Filppula, who last year, from what I've seen, had a horrendous year. So I really didn't understand that, why we brought in Filppula for that. And then we ended up getting, like, not a huge contract, but quite a big contract. So I really didn't understand the whole point of buying that Le Cavalier and then pretty much giving Filppula a big contract. But, you know, Filppula has been playing great this year. He's been on the power play. He's getting the goals. He's getting the assists. I have really actually enjoyed watching Filppula play. So I'm glad that Filppula pretty much proved me wrong. So he did. I was kind of annoyed about Filppula being, well, not annoyed, but I was kind of skeptical about him being brought in. But I'm happy to say that he's really changed my view on him. So it's been great seeing Filppula come in. Another change from last season when we traded Conacher for Ben Bishop. I was really iffy on that. I loved Conacher. I loved watching him play, and you know, I was really weird about Ben Bishop coming in, because you know, we had Lindbach, who had been playing, well, not great, and then we brought Bishop, and I just felt like if we were going to make that trade for a goalie, we should have made a trade for probably a starter goalie, and I didn't really know much about Bishop at the time, so. And then when he came in, he had a few good games, but you know, it wasn't like an outstanding improvement, so I really didn't understand that trade at first, but now Bishop this year has been playing out of his absolute mind, so that has been that's been great to see. So I'm happy to say that, you know, Stevie Eisman has proved me wrong twice here. I've been really skeptical of both of their moves, and both of them have really planned out for the better. So Bishop's been great, Filppula's been great, and yeah, that's been all fun to watch. I guess the other thing from the offseason is the third overall draft pick, Jonathan Drouin, wasn't brought up to Tampa into the NHL team, left down in juniors. At first, I wasn't really too sure what to think about this. I wasn't sure if we were, like, how Tampa were going to be this year, really. But, you know, the more I think about it, the more I'm okay with this, really. I mean, give the kid a year to grow. He's only young as well, so I'm like, give the kid an extra year in juniors to try and mature himself. So I'm all right with that, really. At first I wish he would have gotten brought up. It would have been fun to see him play, but you know, I'm happy because apparently he wouldn't have even gotten that much playing time either. So you know what? If that's the case and he wouldn't have gotten a lot of playing time, then yeah, by all means, keep him in juniors to try and mature and, you know, just get better. I mean, it can't hurt the kid from staying down there, so I'm alright from staying down there. That's alright with me, really. And I guess, really, the biggest news from Tampa this year has been, obviously, recently the Stamkos injury. Broke his tibia against Boston, and apparently he's going to be out. I've heard he's going to be out for about 3 to 4 months. I don't know how accurate that is, or I could be completely off by that, but I've heard the numbers 3 and 4, so I think he's out for 3 to 4 months. Obviously Stamkos is my second favorite player on the team, besides St. Louis. It sucks seeing him go. He was having an absolute beast of a year, up there in goals, up there in points, so, you know, obviously it sucks losing what is pretty much your best player. I mean, I do like other players on the team, but I don't think there's any bones about it. You know, Stamkos is the best player on Tampa Bay, so it sucks seeing him go and, you know, get injured like that and be out for such a long period of time, especially in an Olympic year like this. Like, I'm sure that he wanted to go play in the Olympics. I'm sure he would have been a lock for the Olympics, but obviously that can't really be the case unless he you know, pulls off a miracle here and gets back to 100% before Sochi, but I don't really think that's gonna happen. Well, I hope, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. But which sucks because apparently I'm not 100% how true this is. I heard about it, but apparently this might be the last year the NHL is in the Olympics. So if that's the case, and this could be the last time Canada's in the Canada's in the Olympics, so it would have been the last time he could have played for the Olympics. So obviously, I'm sure he's completely gutted about that, and I'm sad to see him go. But you know, it's been 2 games since he got injured, and so far the team really seems to have responded to him like being gone. I mean, they played against Montreal. They beat Montreal. And then they played Anaheim, who was like first in the NHL, I believe. First in the NHL, I think. And like we wrecked them, like 5-1. We beat him. So I mean, the team have responded great to the Stamkos injury. It's been a lot of fun. I'm hoping they can keep it up because I was all doom and gloom with Stamkos getting injured. I thought, oh, here we go. We're gonna plummet like we did last season. Last season we started like 6-0 and then lost everything. And I assumed, like, you know, doom and gloom, alright, we're done, Stamkos is gone. But, you know, we've really responded, so it's been a lot of fun to see. Other than that, I'm just going to give a slight prediction about how I think Tampa is going to do. If they can keep up how they're playing, I believe that they are pretty much a lock for the playoffs. I mean, they've been playing... Obviously, the stands say they've been playing the best in the Eastern Conference, and I don't think they'll stay in first, but I do think they will definitely keep a hold of a playoff spot. And if that's the case, if we can avoid Boston, clearly, if we can avoid Boston and possibly Pittsburgh in the playoffs, then I'm pretty sure we should be all right. But I'm not sure. I mean, when we played Boston in the conference finals a few years ago, you know, we lost in 7, which is really unfortunate, by a goal, and then we came back from, like, I think it was 3-0 down, or like 3 games to 0 down against Pittsburgh, and like beat them a few years ago as well. So I mean, I'd like to try and avoid Boston, but I mean, if you're gonna win the Stanley Cup, you gotta play these teams eventually. So I think with the team we've got, and hopefully by then Stamkos will be back as well. I don't know again. So if that's the case, then you know, I do think we have a chance to potentially make it back to the Eastern Conference Final, especially the way we've been playing. I don't see why we couldn't. So that's pretty much my Tampa thing. I'm pretty much guaranteeing they're going to make it into the playoffs. I'm guessing and hoping they're going to make it into the Eastern Conference Finals again, but we will have to see. That's pretty much everything about the about Tampa Bay right now. So I guess I'm just going to talk about the NHL in general here. Hold on, let me get the standings up. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about the NHL in general here. I mean, like I said, I mean, Tampa's on top of the East, and then, I mean, for the West has been absolutely dominating the East this year. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, I've got the entire league stands up here, and, you know, Tampa Bay being top of the East, and they're still 6th in the league. I mean, the West have just been dominating, and they've been playing a lot of Eastern Conference teams, and to be honest, the West have had the Eastern Conference's number for quite a while, other than Tampa. I mean, Tampa's 7-0, but I mean, other than that, the West is just dominating the East completely. So, like a lot of people are saying, I mean, the West have better teams, but the East have the superstars, and obviously the West is taking advantage of the better teams. I mean, I guess they don't really need all the superstars. I mean, like the Crosby, the Ovechkin, the Stamkos, they don't need all that. I mean, obviously they're doing fine how they are. I mean, even now, like, Datsuk's in the East now, so apparently they don't even need Datsuk to be dominating. So, you know, the West are definitely better than the East so far, and they definitely are better, but that's pretty much what we're looking at so far, is that, you know, Anaheim top of the league, and 1 point behind them is San Jose, 1 point behind San Jose, Chicago, and then Phoenix with 29, Colorado 28, so Colorado and Tampa Bay are tied, so it's quite close up there in the Western Conference, and, you know, the Eastern Conference are really lacking there. As far as the bottom of the league, I mean, you got Florida at 28, which is really no surprise. You got Buffalo at 29 and Edmonton with 30. I mean, Edmonton have been a huge disappointment this year. I mean, with goaltender problems, and then you're starting to wonder, like, with all the first overall picks they're getting, it's like, when are they actually going to turn shit around? I mean, how many overall picks do you need before you finally have a team that can do something? I mean, I know goaltending has been a huge issue. Oh, and on top of the first overall draft picks, I mean, then now they're talking about, like, potentially trading Yakupov. So, I mean, if these first overall picks aren't really doing anything, then really they've got to figure something out in Edmonton. And one of the problems they've had so far that I've heard is the goaltending. And apparently, well, not apparently, they picked up Brizgalov within this week. I don't know exactly when. I don't know how he's done, but they picked up Brizgalov. And personally, if I was them, if they were willing to trade Yakupov, what I would have tried if I was Edmonton is to not take a chance on Brizgalov and instead try and package some, you know, prospects that they've got, because they've got loads at this point, and, you know, try and possibly grab Ryan Miller from Buffalo, because I don't think Miller's going to be there by the end of the season. So if I was Edmonton, I personally would have tried to go for Miller over Brizgalov. Maybe they did, and I just don't realize it, but if I was Edmonton, I would have definitely been going for Miller over Brizgalov, but, you know, whatever. They got Brizgalov now, so that's pretty much it. As far as the players, I mean, you got Crosby up there, Crosby leading the league in points. You got Alexander Steen, who has come out of nowhere and is leading the league in goals with 16, with Ovechkin and Stamkos right behind him. I mean, Alexander Steen is just having a monster of a year, and I actually, in a fantasy league I'm in, I nearly traded him immediately because, you know, I didn't really know anything about it, and needless to say, thank God I decided not to do that, because he has been absolutely fantastic. As far as the goalies, you've got Josh Harding from Minnesota leading the league in goals against the save percentage. I mean, he's been doing great with Backstrom now. For wins, you've got Ben Bishop for Tampa, so both of them have been playing great. Unfortunately, I don't think either of them are going to get called for the Olympics for Team Canada and America for both of them, but I mean, Canada is stacked for goalies, so I mean, they should. I don't imagine Josh Harding getting called, unfortunately for him, but I mean, they're absolutely stacked. And America's kind of the same thing. I mean, with Jonathan Quick and Ryan Miller again. I mean, I don't really imagine Ben Bishop getting a call, but, you know, who knows? They could surprise us and he could get the call up there. How long have I been going for here? About 17 and a half minutes, I think. So, just another thing I really want to cover. I kind of want to go over the outdoor games. The outdoor games, I love the Winter Classic. I think the Winter Classic is a lot of fun to watch every single year. This year, what should have happened last year? We've got Toronto and Detroit in Michigan, so that'll be a lot of fun. I always love watching the Winter Classic and the outdoor games. But this year, the NHL does something different. Instead of the one game, well, I think there was the Heritage Classic in Canada, but I don't think that really gets as much attention as the Winter Classic. At least in America, I don't think it does, and in the UK, it definitely doesn't. But I mean, we've got 6 total outdoor games, unless I'm missing some, but I'm only seeing 6 at the minute. I mean, you got Anaheim, LA, Rangers, Devils, Rangers, Islanders, Penguins, Blackhawks, and then the Heritage Classic, you've got Senators and Canucks. I mean, personally, I'm really excited for the Winter Classic because I just love the Winter Classic, and I'm hoping HBO also bring back the Winter Classic, the 24/7 series, because I loved watching the HBO series. I thought it was a lot of fun watching it and trying to get like a background story of what happens with the pros. Personally, I think other than the Winter Classic, the best game as is right now, I think it's going to be the Penguins and Blackhawks, but that's just my opinion. Another slight thing I want to cover just before I finish this video is fighting. Fighting has been a big thing this year, obviously with the Paris hit and just all the injury. Well, not really. I mean, just a lot of people have been having issues with fighting this year specifically, especially. I mean, I've heard a lot more about fighting this year than in previous years. I just want to give my take on it. Personally, I like fighting. I want to see it stay in the game. If they want to tone down the fights, like make it not happen as much somehow, then, you know, I'm fine with that. But I never want to see fighting taken completely out of hockey, because quite frankly, I've yet to hear a proper argument against fighting. I mean, so far, I mean, all you really get is about injuries, and to me, that's a load of garbage, because you're talking about a game where you've got a hard rubber puck being fired at, what, over 100 miles per hour, and you've got these sticks that can take people's eyes out, and you've got these big bodies flying around the ice and hitting each other. So to me, if the only excuse to take out fighting is injuries, then to me that is a load of garbage. I mean, if you want to take injuries out of hockey, you're going to have to gut the entire sport, and then, well, who the hell would watch it, really? I mean, if you take pretty much anything dangerous out of hockey, it's nothing. It's nothing at all, really. That's pretty much all I want to cover for this episode. Like I said, trying something different about this. If you guys like me talking about the NHL, then leave a comment down below. You know, I can possibly get a series going. It won't be like this, you know. Well, it probably won't be like this, where like a 20-minute episode of me just rambling about different aspects of the NHL. But if you guys like me giving my take of the NHL, then leave a comment down below and give me some feedback on what you guys think, because I don't mind doing these. I like talking about hockey. I might even, you know, talk about the Elite League over in the UK. If anyone really wants to hear about that, I'll happily talk about that. But if you guys want to hear more of this, then like leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys want. So I'm more than happy to do this. But yeah, something different for this episode, but that's all for now. I think in this game we ended up winning 3-1 in this game in the background. So there's that. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.